Wednesday. Here I am, like getting all my, happy New Year's Eve. Okay, so I didn't let anybody know I was really going online here. So I just had this, I don't know, I had something burning inside of me I wanted to share with you guys, because you know what? We're coming into a new year. Welcome, Brother Matt. Welcome. Happy New Year. So nobody really knows I'm coming on, except, you know what? Lynette said she's available. Let me just see here. Sometimes it's, So welcome, y'all. Let me know what you're doing. What y'all doing today? Are you staying home? Are you watching a movie? Going out? Let me see if I got nobody around here. Steven's at work. Madison's gone. And I am, there's Sister Lorna. I am limited in my technical ability. But, you know what? I've been talking to a lot of people the last couple weeks, and a lot of people that are really stuck. They're stuck. And you know what? It just breaks my heart, because you can see what they need to do, and sometimes people just can't do it. Okay, you know what? Just a second. My lighting is driving me crazy because I need to get some proper lights because my glasses always get reflected. So, hi, Brittany, thank you. Happy New Year's. So, you know what? If y'all want to tag a friend, share it to your page or something so we can have some people join in with this, because I know it'll bless people. And I wasn't going to go on, but you know what? Another friend just reached out to me this morning and was struggling. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go on and talk about this. And then I got my Real Talk Kim jacket on here. God's favorite, all the stuff. And I thought, you know what? I put it on and I thought, I'm just going to jump on. I'm going to just talk about this, because I think it's something we need to talk about. And we need to help each other through it. And I don't know what I ended up calling it. Carry the wisdom, not the wounds. So how many of us get stuck in the past? Y'all? How many get stuck in the past? And how many carry that heaviness around? Like I said to my friend this morning, it's like bricks in your backpack. And you keep carrying it around. And it's so heavy. It's like, I can't do this. But you're carrying it around anyway. Right? And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to jump on here and share, because when I put my Pastor Kim, I got this at her closet sale last year, and I thought, you know what? I am just going to, because I had actually been chatting with her earlier today about this. I'm like, this is something a lot of people go through. And my Limitless ladies, we met for tea yesterday, and I kind of had talked to a few of them yesterday. And, I thought, I'm just going to jump on and talk about this and try to encourage y'all. Try to encourage you all. So, I don't even know. Thank you for anyone that shares. Because you know what? I am not good at... I am not really good at this without Maddie and Steven. It's hard. I can't multitask. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness gracious. My hands, it doesn't want to do the @ sign. So anyway, I'll just forget it. You know what? You can all watch the replay. But thanks for sharing. Anybody that comes on, thanks for sharing. And we're just going to get right into it. And... So I thought, here we are. We are wrapping up. 2025 is gone. It's not coming back. It's Christmas, or it's New Year's Eve, and we're heading into a new year. And, I know so many people that are stuck. like my friend Tasha says, stuck in the junk and the funk and the mess and all the stuff. There's so many people that are stuck and they just can't let go of things that have been in their past that hurt them. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to jump on here and I'm going to talk about it. Stephen's working today, I don't know, until probably 4 o'clock or something. I don't know. It's New Year's Eve, but we really don't have any plans. We are doing 10 days of prayer and fasting and services at the church starting tomorrow. So, you know, we'll probably be up till midnight, but we don't have any like hot and heavy plans. Let's just put it that way, you know. And we didn't think about it early enough to probably book a place to eat. So I don't know, we're going to probably have leftovers out of our fridge because our fridge is overflowing and full. So I wanted to say, you know, leaving the baggage in the past. How do we leave the baggage in the past? And you know what? When you're jumping on, tell me where you're jumping on from and where you're watching the replay from. That would be awesome. And then I can keep track of y'all. So how many of us carry baggage around from the past that, you know what, affects us? Hello. I think a lot of people do. So I had written down some notes, so bear with me as I kind of try to stick to them so that I don't get too sidetracked. So as we step into a new year, I wanted to talk about something that quietly holds people back. You know, whether we admit it or not. It holds people back. So many of us are carrying things from past seasons, from past times in our life, from past hurts. Karen, welcome from Nova Scotia. Woo, woo, woo. Can you feel the love today? It's in the air. New Year's Eve is right here happening. So I wanted to jump on and encourage y'all because sometimes we get stuck in those things in the past that God never intended us for to keep carrying. You know, like, you know, we grab onto something and we have to hold it tight and we know we should let go of it and we know we should give it up and we know we should throw it away, but we just keep grabbing onto it and we just keep going back to it and it makes us feel good and it's comfortable and it's familiar, so we keep stroking it even though we know it's best if we just get rid of it. Sorry, this is my glass case. It was the only thing that was, you know, pliable, that my water bottle wasn't going to bend. But you know what? How many of us do that? How many of us keep grabbing onto that thing that we know we should get rid of, and we keep going back there? So we keep carrying things from the past season that God never intended us to keep carrying. So there's a difference between acknowledging what hurt us. Sorry, I'm tired, so I get all muddled up. Acknowledging what hurt us, or living there. Like if we take camp up there, you know, we're always going back there, right? So it's one thing to acknowledge, okay, that hurt me. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to move past this? What am I going to do about it? How am I going to move forward? You know, being very intentional about those things. So there's a difference between acknowledging what hurt and then living there. And, you know, we've all met the people. They live there. They take camp there. They start to become negative nannies because, you know what? They're living in that hurt, broken season. Hello, y'all. Right? God invites us to heal, not to stay stuck. Pastor Kim, Real Talk Kim, I'm talking about. You know what? Some of us need a mentor in our life. Some of us actually need a coach that you actually have to pay money for, because sometimes, unless it's hitting your pocketbook and your bottom line, sometimes you just don't want to do it. You can have the biggest, most amazing people mentoring you in your life, and because you're getting it for free and that's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. No, I don't think I'll do that. No, that's fine for that person over there, but it's not for me. It's not for me. And y'all, sometimes we need to pull up our socks. And sometimes we need that accountability. If you're paying to go see a counselor, if you're paying for a mentor or coach, or, you know, you're going back to school, or you're taking a class, and, you know, I'm going to be starting actually some master classes and coaching in the new year that we've been revamping my website for forever, but I just haven't had extra time. So I have extra time right now. So we're working on that. But sometimes, unless there's something that hey, Faye, beautiful, beautiful Faye, it was so good to see you yesterday. Sometimes, you know, it's different when we make that commitment and we have to pay money for something, whether it's learning, classing, coaching, whatever it is, it makes a difference. And you take it more seriously. Hi, Anisha, Happy New Year. So I'm just jumping on here to talk about just some stuff that God dropped in my heart. And I talked about this to some of my Limitless ladies yesterday, but God invites us to heal, not to stay stuck. And my friend Real Talk Kim, she's wrote a book, Unstuck, great book, because how many of us all have been stuck? And I know, and it took somebody like Real Talk Kim in my own life, because you know what? God will use people. You know, you can think of that person in your life that's made a difference. God will use people. And you know what? There's certain people in our lives, when you look back over your life, you can say, oh yeah, that person really helped me. That really, you know, that person really helped me through this rough season. And Pastor Kim has been that person for me. She's propelled me forward. She's launched me into something I always knew that was deep down inside of there, but when you don't have the right people sitting at your table, when you don't have the right people pulling out the gold in you, encouraging you, lifting you up, if you're around the tank takers all the time and not the tank fillers, then guess what? It's just like you don't feel inspired to do anything, because you really don't feel, you're exhausted. You don't feel like you have anything left to give, right? So I am so grateful and so thankful that I do have a Real Talk Kim in my life. So it's not about pretending things didn't hurt. Right? We all know when our heart has been hurt, you know? It's not about pretending that it didn't hurt, but it's about deciding what comes with us to the next season and what stays behind. That's exactly what I was talking about to my girls yesterday. Like, what did you love about 2025? What were things that was just like, oh, that was a great moment. I learned so much there. You know, all that stuff. Decide what the good was and what worked well. What worked well? What habits and things did you do in your life where it's like, oh my goodness, that works so awesome. I would totally do that again. And then the stuff that's not so great and really hurt you, or the people that you found that I had to stay away from there, I have to set boundaries, all the stuff, you know, then just leave them over there. And you can love them and leave them, right? Just make sure you forgive. Make sure you walk in that peace of forgiveness and not have bitterness. And you know what? You're coming with me to the next season. Woohoo! This is your season to be blessed. God gave me a promise. It stood the test. I could get so excited because God is doing a new thing. So I had Ecclesiastes 3:6, a time to search, a time to give up, a time to give away, and a time to throw away. So I want y'all to think. And sometimes we need to get a notebook. Sometimes we need to write things down. Sometimes we need to become very intentional and very aware of what God wants to do with us. You know, how is God speaking me to be better? What is he birthing inside of me, right? Sometimes we have to just, like I said, turn down the static of the world and turn up that frequency of heaven that you're turning into. So number one, I had honor the year without holding on to it. So the year, and I posted about this on Facebook, and I talked about it yesterday. So it's kind of been something brewing in me. I've been writing a blog post that I'm going to be dropping soon on my website, ConnieMannering.com. And it's all about leaving stuff in the past, leaving the baggage back there, not picking it up and carrying it around, right? Not hanging on to the things that hurt you. You know what? Let's face it. I have been hurt so many times in my life. It's a wonder that I can get out of bed in the morning, right? I could write 1,000 books on nasty things that happened to me. Where would it get me? Probably not very far, right? But it's being intentional. It's finding joy in the journey. It's finding joy in Jesus. You know what? Nothing like sourpuss Christians. Come on now. Do you like to be around them? Because I don't. It's very hard. It sucks the life. It pulls. It pulls from me. Pulls from me. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Can't wait to see you, Wendy says. Woo-hoo, Dr. Destiny, can't wait to read your blog post. Yeah, you know what? It is good. And it's been brewing in my spirit the last couple weeks. And I've been behind in things. Lives, right? But this year held good moments and hard moments. We're all like that. You can look back at your year and you're like, oh man, that was such a hard thing. And last March I went through this, and in the summer I went through this. But you know what? I had really, this was a lovely time, and this was something really God blessed me with over here. So you take all that, right? And it's like you put it into your database, and it's like, what is it going to spit out? See you in 2 weeks. Oh my goodness, Dr. Destiny, We're going to Atlanta, baby. So everybody's year is held good and bad. Grab onto the good. Grab on what worked for you. Grab onto the habits that really helped you. So, sometimes it's adapting those healthy habits and, working out, eating right, drinking more water, cutting out sugar, all the things. And everybody needs different tools in their toolbox. Right? Everybody does. And I'm going to talk about that with the Limitless Ladies, that, what tools do you need in your toolbox for you to succeed, for you to go well, to do well, for you to get pushed to the next level. So some seasons were joyful, others were stretching. Ooh, how many times have you been stretched? And it's usually not fun, right? I write about that in my book. When I went through that season when I was diagnosed with cancer, it was a real stretching. It was a real faith stretch. It was a real exhausting stretch. And I had to learn to rely on other people. I had to learn to rely on who Jesus really was in my life, right? And believe the report of the Lord. So those are all important things. So honor the year without chaining yourself to it. If there's bad things, don't stay stuck there. Just because someone shaped you doesn't mean it has to stay with you. And if someone who really hurt you and broke your heart and misused you and all this stuff, don't let that shape who you are. Don't carry that around. Just let it go. Love them. Just don't let them sit at your table, right? I've said that before. Order them Uber Eats, right? Don't let them sit at your table. You're in charge of that. So growth does not require constant revisiting. You don't need to always be going back to that thing that hurt you and revisiting it and digging it up and opening the wound, right? Just let it go. So number 2, I had carry lessons, not luggage. There is wisdom to take forward. There's also weight to leave it behind. Wisdom teaches, luggage slows you down. If you keep pulling yourself backwards, you will never belong in your future. My mom is sending me some pictures here. But like I said, if you have bricks in your backpack and you keep carrying that around, it gets pretty heavy. And then it makes you pretty tired. It makes you pretty exhausted. I had Hebrews 12:1, therefore, since we are surrounded by such great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders. Uber Eats, Mickey likes. It's true though, right? Because who is around us and who sits at our table matters. And like I said to my girls yesterday, you know what? You want to surround yourself with the people that pull out the gold in yourself. I wish I had all your wisdom. You know what, Laura? It's just listening to what God wants us to do, and it's just turning down that noise and static of the world. Because when you live through things, and as we mature and we go through garbage, I've been through so much garbage, but I've learned from that. I've learned so much from that, and I don't get stuck in it. And number 3 was forgiveness is a decision, not a feeling. So I've talked about forgiveness before, and forgiveness sometimes isn't reconciliation, right? You sometimes you have to forgive, and it's just like, Lord, you have to deal with it. I'm going to let you have that. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to forgive that person, but God is our vindicator. So we don't keep going back and picking up that thing that hurt us. We don't keep going back there because we're going to cry our pants off every time. And I get on here and I snot-nose cry, but I don't want it to be about junk that I can do something about. I snot-nose cry because it's like something that God's really done and God's really touched and miraculously done, and there's a great testimony, and I'm braggadocious on him, right? So forgiveness does not excuse what happened, okay? So some people say, well, I just can't forget about it. Well, you know what? It doesn't excuse that it happened. It doesn't say that it's right. It's not giving you a free ticket, whatever. That's right. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. And when you can grab on to that, it changes your life. You know what? Madison's dad, I had a hard time for a long time, right? And it was when I said, God, you know what? You have to deal with it. You're the vindicator. You're going to look after the details here. You know what? I'm going to forgive, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm not going to have a root of bitterness, because that, my friend, will destroy you. Bitterness keeps you connected to what hurt you. So you'll always be going back to the devil's playground, playing in that playground, grabbing onto something that you shouldn't be grabbing onto, and staying comfortable, staying where it's familiar, and never moving ahead and growing past that. So forgiving is choosing freedom, not denial. And forgiveness disconnects you from it. It's like there's something when you forgive somebody, like I said, you don't have to. Forgiveness isn't always reconciliation. That's not what it means. But when you forgive somebody, it disconnects you from that. And it's just like you can wash your hands of it. It's disconnected and it feels good. It's like you have that inner peace. God's giving you that inner peace and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I've forgiven them. I've given it to Jesus and I'm moving forward. So God is fully capable of being your vindicator. Believe me, he's done it. And Romans 12:19, I said, do not avenge yourself, dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. Let him deal with it. God sees everything. God goes before us. He sees the people in rooms that are talking about us that we, didn't realize, right? And that's another thing that people have to leave behind, because sometimes there are people that are they're in competition with you. There's kingdom competition. Imagine that. And you know what? You just have to let go of all that. And you have to be careful who you share things with, who you share your heart with, because some people don't want good for you. So try to find the people to sit at your table that want the best for you, that see the gifts and talents that God has given you and want to pull that out and want to lift you up and encourage you and laugh with you and have fun with you. Right? Find joy in the journey. So number 4, I had stop returning to the places God had already walked you out of. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? God has brought us from a season. God has brought us through that heartache. God has brought us through that pain. And we keep going back there and revisiting it. Hello? Some people revisit old pain because it feels familiar, like we talked about. But familiar doesn't mean healthy. Familiar doesn't mean healthy. God healed you to move you forward, not circle back. Not circle back and keep grabbing it. Yes, gossiping is a sin. And you know, Denisha, when I started Limitless Ladies, I laid the ground rules at the beginning. And one of the things was we're not going to gossip about each other here. So it's not a country club mentality. We're going to lift each other up. We're going to lock arms together. Right? We're going to be kingdom sisterhood, and we're not going to gossip. And you know, that was one of the things that so many of the women came back to me and said, we love that you're real and it's a safe place. And you know what? You're not going to let gossip in here. We're not going to talk about each other. Right? So I will not have anything. And I've had to shut it down. I've had to shut it down before. And it's not fun because it's people I love and it's people that should know better. But you know what? I've had to shut it down. It's not been fun. And you know, sometimes it's really hard being a leader because you got a really small circle. Got a really small circle of who you can trust and who, is behind you and for you. And that's why it's such a blessing, to have somebody like a Pastor Kim in my life, right? Somebody like Lorna, right? Sometimes you just need a couple people helping you fill your tank, and then you can go and you can pour out to people, right? And you can help all those people that maybe are tank takers, but you can have an influence and an impact on them because you have a place that you're going back to. Obviously, you need to have that, relationship with the Lord that he's filling your tank. But we also, especially as women, we need other women that are filling our tank up. Right? So that's why it was so good to get together with my ladies yesterday. And so many of them needed it because it's been a busy time over Christmas and some of them might not have a lot of stuff planned. But you know what? So many people need that. He's doing a new thing. Yes, Lorna, isn't he? Find joy in the journey. Yes, that's it, Denisha. Find and joy in the journey. That's so important. We talked about that yesterday with my ladies too. So God healed you to move forward and not circle back. Reflection is healthy, but re-entry keeps the wound open. Don't keep opening the wound and you can't figure out why you can't move ahead. It's because you keep reopening the wound. When it's closed up and dealt with and healed over, and then you keep going back there. So not every memory deserves your attention. Sometimes we just have to forgive, not carry bitterness, leave it with Jesus and move on. And Isaiah 48:18-19, forget the former things, do not dwell in the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. And Lorna had my notes because that's what she just said. See, I'm doing a new thing. Come on now. So number 5 is protect what you carry into the next season. So not everyone gets access to your heart, your time, your future. Okay. So that's what we have to, and as women, we are famous for it because you know what? Everybody's going through something. And when you're a compassionate person, you want to help everybody. Stop you. Hi, Angel. Mickey, stop picking at the scab. Yes, that's so true, isn't it, Mickey? Sometimes as women, we just get in there and it's just like, how close can I get to this and pick it without it bleeding and ripping open and being a mess, right? Sometimes we push the limit. Can you imagine women pushing the limit? Can't imagine. So we need to be very careful going into 2026, and especially if God's given you a vision and downloaded something and you have dreams and you know that this year is going to be, you know, really exciting yet really hard because you have to intentionally do things different. So, you know, obviously what did not work in 2025, we're not going to take into 2026. Well, at least we shouldn't, right? So, you know, you need to get a book and you need to be very intentional and you need to write those goals down, Habakkuk 2:2, and write down the vision and see it and pray over it and all that stuff, right? But you have to be very careful who you share your heart with because, man, that can backfire sometimes, y'all. Sometimes there's people out there that are just wanting to get close to you, to get a piece of what you have, or to wreck your dreams, or to be the hijackers. I call them the hijackers, right? Because the devil will send hijackers that, you know, they come packaged differently and you'll be like, oh no, that person would never hurt me. Be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm going to say. So who you walk with affects how far you go. So, and I always say it's so important who sits at your table. It's true. Okay. The older I get, I find I have very few people sit at my table. And, you know, Pastor Kim, that was something that she had told me a long time ago, is that, you know, the more God starts using you, the more he accelerates and propels you, you will find that you have fewer and fewer people that are closer to you that you can share things with. And I went through a season, I'm going to say probably the last 5 years, I felt like God was really getting me ready for this season right here. Right? Because I was in Sarnia, then we left and we lived in Chatham for 2 years, had the big mansion, beautiful, beautiful, stunning place. Most people would just be like, why in the world would you ever sell that? But it was like God was purging people from my life. And I think he needed to take me out of this city and bring me back because I just loved people so much. You know, I had a hard time staying away from people. And, you know, that's another thing that we can really get stuck in is people pleasing, right? People pleasing can get us so far out of alignment off the path that we are supposed to be on. I'm telling you, people pleasing can be one of the biggest hijackers. And when you talk to people and I coach people and, you know, I help people, 9 times out of 10, what they are stuck on is another person's opinion or what that person thinks of me. What are they going to think about that? What are they going to say about me? Hey, you, we'll call you in a few. Oh, this must be Mickey. Me, Mickey, you're still fine. So that is something a lot of people and a lot of women, they get stuck on. So you need to be very careful who is walking around you because it is going to stunt your growth of how far you can go if you do not have the right people at your table. If you don't have the people that are pulling out the gold in you, that are filling your tank, that are speaking truth, that are grounded in the word, that have a humble heart, that they really want to see God's best in your life, right? And if they've shown their fruit in the past of where they're at, and if you've been hurt by that person, you know, or your family's been hurt, or, you know, all the stuff we can all think of. I mean, there's so many Limitless ladies that have come up and shared to me stuff about them having church hurt, and how hard that has been for them. And they all have a different story, right? But what I always say is, like, I'll give anybody a chance or opportunity to walk through forgiveness and healing and trying to repair. But you know what? You have to look at their fruit, and you have to look at their heart. And you can't make somebody forgive you. You can't change their heart, right? Yes, Connie's so good. Yay. So that's just a sidebar. So peace, having peace in your mind is a gift that's worth protecting. So I know when I had met Stephen, he operates differently than me, let's just say. I'm a lot. I can be the life of the party. I love to entertain. I grew up, and a lot of what filled my tank was having people over to my house and having dinner parties and entertaining and, you know, cooking and baking and making and decorating. And I could have the best party, and, you know, all for what, you know. But when I met Stephen, it's just kind of like, I went from out here to here, and it's like, he's like, well, yeah, but why are you doing that? Like, why? You're staying up late, you're making everything from scratch, it tastes delicious, but then you're not able to enjoy it. And why do you want to entertain people that really should not even be sitting at your table? How many people out there entertain people that really shouldn't be sitting at your table, that you know are absolutely no stinking good for you, that there's nothing good coming out of it, that they've not had good fruit in years and years and years? And it's not, you're not mean to those people, but do you let them come and hang with you? Yeah, that's right, Denisha. You can't keep giving the medicine to the sick people, as RTK says. So you know what? Your peace is worth protecting. So, you know, you can't fall into the country club mentality where it's just you want to fit in so bad. And those church cliques and the Christian club, you know, the Christian country club mentality, you know, that you have to do this to fit in and all the stuff, right? You can't fall into that, because you know what? It's never, ever going to have good fruit coming from it. It's never, ever going to have good fruit come from it. And you're going to get hurt, and you're just going to always keep trying to make them happy, not yourself happy, not walk in the plans that God has for you. You're going to be always in a sidebar over here trying to fit in and trying to be accepted. And, you know, because that's what a lot of people do, is they live for that acceptance and opinion of other people, and to be the popular one, to be in that special clique, right? And, you know, think about that when you're going into 2026. What do I want to accomplish this year? Who are the people that are really lifting me up? Like when you go in a room, or you're going somewhere to church, or like say Limitless Ladies, who are the top 3 people that when I leave them, I feel like my tank is filled. I feel like, wow, I laughed from the pit of my stomach. I walked away. I'm feeling so encouraged and inspired. I feel like I can do all these things. And then there's the people that are like, oh, that was painful. You might actually even come away and you have a headache, or your stomach is hurting, or it's just like, you just feel like, oh my goodness, I need to just go scream outside. Do anybody feel like that? Right? So y'all know who those people are in your life. And it's like, okay, well, in 2026, what people are you going to want to hang around more? Are you going to want to be around the tank takers or the tank fillers, right? So choose the people who speak life, right? And not pull you backwards. Choose the people that will find the gold in you to pull out, to encourage, to see your gifts and want you to excel and, you know, see you flourish in whatever gifts you have, right? Be around those people. Proverbs 4:23 I had written out, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Oh, Liz, you feel my tank, Miss Connie? You feel mine too, Liz. I love you, I love you, love you. Can you feel the love today? Liz has almost got a birthday. Woo-hoo. Happy almost birthday. So be very aware going into 2026. You know, okay, who are the people that are going to speak life? Who, you know, peace is worth protecting here. And, you know, the byproduct when you don't have peace, man of living, women, we need to get that together because that is huge, right? We need to protect our peace of mind. You know, that when we go to bed, we can sleep and we know, thank you, Lord, you've just given me this great life. And I'm not saying that we don't have problems, but sometimes we can pick the problems that we do have, right? Or we can keep going back and revisiting the junk and picking it up and playing with it in that playground, right? Ooh! Anyway, moving on to the next point. Moving on up. Small, faithful steps can change everything. Little is much when God is in it. So small, faithful steps can change everything. Sometimes people like, well, I can never do that. That's way too much. That's way too big. I can't dream that big. It's like sometimes it's just like you need to just do a little bit consistently, a little bit, right? That's one thing I've learned from Pastor Kim. You know, when I first met her, excuse me, she's like, oh, okay, you're going to do your book. I was like, okay. And then you're going to go live. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to go live. Yeah, you're going to go live and just going to talk about your book. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, yeah, I want you to be consistent. When I hang up from this call from you, I want you to go live right away and then tell me when you're done. And I'm like, oh, that is just horrific. But you know what I learned from her? I learned to be consistent. And I learned that she was pulling out the gold in me because she said, Connie, you have a very rare gift that not a lot of people have. And she said, if I didn't push you forward, like you have so much that the world needs to hear. And you know what? God bless her because I didn't have the right people sitting at my table. So I did not have people that saw that in me, that wanted to propel me forward, right? Right? If you have the wrong people at your table, they don't want to propel you forward. They don't care. Goodbye, Apollo. Out. They don't care if you get stuck. They do not care. They don't want to see you happy. They don't celebrate your wins. Hello. Have you ever had people like that you do something really amazing and fantabulous and you're so super excited and so super stoked and they can't even smile? They can't celebrate you. They can't say, hey, way to go, congratulations, and feel like they actually mean it. Have you ever had that? Right? So small, faithful steps change everything. You don't need to overhaul your whole life overnight. So I'm thinking, as I was praying this morning, I was like, it's New Year's Eve, not Christmas Eve. Oh my goodness. It's New Year's Eve. Tomorrow is a new day. It's a new year. It's a new year, new dreams, new visions, right? And sometimes it's just God honors faithfulness in the small things. I love that song I sing for so many reasons. Little is much when God is in it. Don't despise small beginnings. Sometimes we just have to do something small and be consistent at it. And God will take that consistency and he will see your heart and he will propel that into something so good. Small, faithful steps. Yes. Being consistent and persistent daily and doing the small, mundane things will grow the success you're looking for in whatever you do. That's so true, Mickey. It's so true. Exactly what I'm getting at. Consistency matters more than intensity. So it's just like when we opened the church, we could have waited. Oh, hi, Carol. Welcome, sweet Carol. We could have waited to start the church. But you know what? It's like, no. Pastor Kim's like, you'll figure out along the way. And just be consistent, and God sees your heart, and you know what? He'll grow that. It's the same with starting Limitless Ladies. If I didn't listen to the Lord, I could get really stressed out. Oh my gosh, I wasn't planning on crying, y'all. But you know, when you listen to what God's dropping in your heart, and some weeks it was different from week to week, and sometimes the schedule would change, and I just got to be like, God, you're driving this ship. You're in charge here, and I'm here to do what you want me to do. God uses people, and he's using me. So it's like I'm a vessel, so you're going to use me, and I'm just going to listen to what you want. I could have waited again. I could have waited months to have a perfect program, plan in place, team in place, all this stuff. Now I'm still praying in the team because it's a lot of work, y'all. But I jumped in with both feet. And God honors that. And when God sees your heart and your intentions and your consistency, he'll honor that. And that's where we're at. So consistency matters more than the intensity, more than the 12-step program, more than having all of this stuff on charts and graphs. And oh my goodness, I can't stand that stuff. That's my creative brain. That stuff kind of just stresses me out. But I know it's important. But you know, some people can dwell on having the blueprint, having the plan, having all the steps in place, having them all broken down, having, you know, all the Google Docs to go along with that, right? And that's great. That's great. Sometimes it's just like, okay, God, it's you and me. I say, me and Jesus, I got our home thing going. Me and Jesus, we got it all worked out. Sometimes it's just like you need a Holy Ghost download, and then God will help you implement what's next, right? So 2026, my word, I got my word. And I'm like, God, whatever you want to do in 2026, you know, just if y'all think about that, you know, and get a word and pray about it and all that. But you know what? We just have to be very intentional. We have to be intentional. We have to be consistent. And it's just like, you know, most people after however many days, you know, their routines fall off and they stop going to the gym. And, you know, that's why I say, so look at 2025 and the things that worked well, grab them, take them into 2026 with some new things and see if you can propel yourself forward to greater things that God has. So one obedient step opens the door for the next. So, you know, it was just like us. We opened the doors to Limitless Church. We were obedient. God brought the place. All the miracles happened there, the chairs, the piano, all the stuff, healings, people, testimonies, and then opening Limitless Ladies. Like if we would have backed off and be like, no, God, we're not ready. You know, we need $100,000 in the bank account before we do this. We need to have a whole team in place. You know, I don't know what would happen because sometimes, excuse me, in our waiting and in our talking ourselves out of things because things aren't perfect, we can miss the moment and the momentum that God has planned. So don't miss the moment and the momentum. Grab onto it and know that if God has given you a word, if God has given you a download, if God has dropped something in your spirit, then act on it. And be consistent at acting on it. Like you know, people say, well, I don't know how you have all these things happen. It's because you know what? When you're listening to, when the Holy Spirit drops something inside of you, and I know Sister Lorna has this happen all the time too. And that is probably why God's connected us, right? Because I don't get to see her much, but we have the right heart, the same heart. I mean, and we're Jesus with skin on, and we want to listen and do whatever he tells us to do. So when the Holy Spirit drops something inside of you and that you need to do, that you need to be consistent on, you know, reaching out to that person or whatever it is, right? And you act on it, and then the testimony comes. I'm telling you, there's no life like it. So then you end up becoming consistent in those intentional things, and it starts shifting the whole trajectory of your life. It starts changing your path. It starts changing who sits at your table. It starts changing who's filling your tank, right? Because if you don't have the right people filling your tank, number one, Jesus, but have you ever seen so many sourpuss Christians walking around? That if I was a non-Christian, I'd be like, I don't really want what they have. Just being honest. They're supposed to know we're Christians by our love, but half the time, I ain't feeling no love. I'm not going to sing, can you feel the love today? Because I can't. I give the little baby Jesus out to my girls at Christmas, and it's a reminder to be Jesus with skin on everywhere we go, because we can make a difference, and God can use us. And don't miss the moments. That's right, Tanisha. Don't miss the moments, because you will lose the momentum of what God had for you to do. We can overthink stuff. We can get in our stinking thinking, and we can talk ourselves out of anything. And may that be the biggest lesson in 2026, is get out of your stinking thinking. Do something new. Like Lorna said, God is doing a new thing. God's doing a new thing. Do you want to be part of it? Or are you going to sit back on the couch and do the same thing that you always have and can't imagine why you're not getting a different result? You've not been intentional about anything. You've not been consistent about anything. You've not written any goals. You haven't found the right people to sit at your table. All the stuff. And yet then we're going to cry and complain and try to suck the life out of somebody else because, Mom, it's not going well. I just need you to listen to my stuff and you would never understand. Yeah, I actually would understand. You know what? If half of you people knew the stuff that I've been through, man, you'd be like, how does she laugh? I know what it's like to be broke and, have nothing. I know what that's like. I've not always been on the mountaintop. I know what it's like to have to really pray to get financial breakthrough and miracles to happen. I know what that's like. When people say cruel things, it drives me nuts because you know what? I have walked it. I have come out on the other side. I was a single mom of a special needs child that went back to work full time after cancer. That wasn't getting any support, but God. When your heart is right and your intentions are right, God will use us. Okay, I need to settle down here because I'm going to get off on a tangent. Sorry, y'all. So you know what? Let's be intentional. And let's do our part. And of course, Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Hello. Little is much when God is in it. Guys, he's not going to drop the millions until he sees you be consistent with the little things. Can you be a servant? Can you clean toilets? Can you help your neighbor? Can you do a good deed? Are you listening when God drops something into your spirit to help somebody else? Can you give a hug? Can you smile? Can you get some joy? Come on now. You're not going to get the millions drop on you when you can't be faithful and intentional with the little things. It's just the way it is. I look at my own life, man of living. When I was a single mom, I am telling you, life was stinking rough and people wanted me to fail. People did not want me to succeed because I had a bunch of religious Christians that were breathing down my neck that were not excited that I was going to go through a divorce. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? You find 45 porn videos on your daughter's jump drive for school and let's see how it goes for you. I'm just going to say it, guys, because that's what happened. I did not choose that for myself. I could have laid down and wallowed and cried and given up and not be where I am today. But I was like, not today, devil. Not today. So what did I do? I had to become very intentional, very consistent, very intentional in what I was doing. I was working a full-time job. I was managing Madison. And let me tell you, that was during a season where the police were coming to my porch, coming to the school. I'm telling you, I know what it's like to live hard times. I renovated my basement myself with these own two hands, myself, so I could rent it out to students that needed a place. And man, I got 3 people trying to get a hold of me right now. My husband is one of them. I'm sorry, honey. You'll find out that I'm on live pretty soon when you get your notification. But I'm telling you that to encourage you because I went from nothing I went from nothing, and I was consistent in the little things. I gave when I thought I had nothing to give. I would tithe, I would give offerings, and I would be able to bless ministries that I never thought. And you know what? The first time I give $1,000, I was like, I can't believe it. Look what God's doing in my life. Be consistent with the little, and God will bring you the much. Because then when I was able to give $10,000, I came from nothing. And some of you might not think that's a lot, but to me it was a lot. To me it was a lot because I started over from scratch. God will bless you when you're consistent with the little. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't look at someone else's life. Don't look at their bank account. Don't look at their goals, because they're going to be different than yours. Talk to Jesus. Listen to him. Like I say, me and Jesus got our home and going. Me and Jesus got it all worked out. And like yesterday, I was thinking, and leave the junk that you shouldn't have, that you're not carrying. Leave it. I was like, my friend Joyce Saunders that sings at the Martins siblings, her sister and her brother she sings with. And if you listen to the Gaithers and Southern Gospel, you know the Martins, but they sing this song. And I love it. I'm going to lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm going to lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Woo! I love it, because you know what? It's a reminder. Leave your burdens back there. Leave them back there. You don't need them moving forward. Listen to Jesus and what he has. Talking to me, Tanisha. Faithful through it all. That's right. Through it all. God is faithful. Come on, Connie, you're passionate. I am. And I get so angry because I've seen the devil try to steal so many people's joy. And I know my own story, and that's why I jump on here, and that's why I snot-nose cry in front of y'all, because you know what? Little is much when God is in it. Why can't we not grab onto that? Why do we have to have so many sourpuss Christians that feel like, come on, God, you got to bless me. Come on, send somebody to help me. And they want to sit on their couch and they don't want to get off their bum and do anything. Man, when I was a single mom and I was renovating my basement myself and I was working full time and I was managing Madison, I had probably about 4 hours sleep every night. But God got me through that season. God got me through that season. And he brought the most beautiful people into my life to breathe life into me, to fill my tank at that moment. I worked with all these volunteers that were all these grandma and grandpas that were beautiful people. Beautiful people. And it was something that I needed, that I didn't know that I needed, but God brought them, because God will use people. God will use people. So don't be discouraged. Whatever your story is, be faithful in the little. Be faithful in the little. God will bring you the much. Okay, I gotta get going. Number 7 was step into the new year with intention. So just like we were talking about, don't carry what God never asked you to bring. God didn't tell you to pick up that backpack and carry it, then don't bring it. Put it down. Write yourself up a ticket. Don't carry the crap in the backpack. Let it go. Let it go. Leave it behind in 2025. Just like my friend Joyce, gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Carry wisdom, clarity, and expectation. God is still writing your story. He's not finished. This could be the best chapter that you're walking into. The best one. Don't miss it. Hi, Lillian. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Thank you for the speckies. Don't miss what God has to you, because you're getting stuck. You're getting in your feelings. You're going back and you're picking up baggage that you should leave your hands off of. And not dabble with that. Don't reopen the wound, like Mickey said. Quit picking the scab. Quit picking the scab. Put it down. Let it go. God is still writing your story. And if he has done what he's done in my life and turned it around, God's going to turn it around. What he did for me, he could do for you. He's no respecter of persons. And if I can have a story like that, y'all can have a story like that. I wasn't always on the mountaintop. I had a lot of valleys that the devil tried to hijack me from. Thank you, Lillian. A lot of valleys. But I'm still here and I'm still standing and God is still good and he's still used me. And I'm not perfect, but I certainly have learned a lot. So God is still writing your story. The next season requires a lighter load. Leave the bricks in your backpack to the side, right? Carry the wisdom, not the wounds. Come on, Connie. Come on now, girl. Throw that backpack down the river. Go lay down my burdens down by the riverside. The next season requires a lighter load. Choose to step forward, not backwards. Keep stepping forward. And whatever little tiny microscopic steps forward, at least you're progressing forward and you're not falling back. Right? So give yourself a pat on the back for that. Philippians 3:13-14, forgetting what is behind, straining towards what is ahead, I press on. We just got to need to hear that a few times ourselves. So in closing, as we head into a new year, take a moment and ask yourself, what am I carrying that God has asked me to release? Write it down. Pray over it. Remind yourself, I'm not going back there. You know, when the thought comes, I cast that thought out in the name of Jesus. I'm throwing it down the river. Remember me singing that silly song, I'll lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Throw it in the river. Remind yourself of that. See it on the paper. Remind yourself of that. I'm not going back there. I'm not picking that up. I'm not going there again. I'm not playing with that. Playing with fire and you're going to get burned. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt again. So do not play with the fire. Don't play with the fire. And what wisdom do I want to take forward from that? What did I learn in that thing that God's asking me to release? What did I learn from that? And what wisdom does God want me to take forward in that and propel you on to the next step? And like I always said, never forget how you leave one season is how you enter the next. So take inventory today, how you're going to walk into 2026 and be intentional. Be intentional, right? Because how I'm leaving this season is how I'm entering the next. So I have to be intentional. How I'm leaving 2025 is how I'm going into 2026. What do I want to change? What do I want to take with me? What do I want to say? Come on, I like you. Come on with me into 2026. You're helping shape who I am and propelling me forward, giving me more confidence, all the stuff that God has me to be, right? Or what things am I going to leave back there? You're not coming with me. You are trouble in my life. You hurt my heart. I am not going back there. I'm going to love you, but you're going to get Uber Eats and you're not going to sit at my table. You're not going to come and hang with me, right? I'm not going to share my heart with you because I can't trust you because you've hurt my heart before, right? And I don't really give people a second chance to hurt my heart again. Don't play with fire. Happy New Year, Joy Injector. Thank you, Tanisha. Love you, girl. So you know what? Those are just all friendly reminders that I just wanted to jump on here and just encourage you all about what you're going to take into 2026 with you. What does that look like? What worked well in 2025? And what was the baggage that you just need to leave in a heap at the door tonight and gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens. Get out of here. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Oh yeah, come on. I look forward to a blessed 2026 with you. Lots of you in it. Ooh, praise the Lord. I saw the light. You know what? Stay tuned. I'm going to be dropping a new website soon. I'm going to be dropping master classes. I'm going to be dropping a few coaching spots for anybody that needs a coach and needs a mentor, because I know what Pastor Kim did in my life. And I know how important it is that if somebody is intentionally wanting to move forward, and they have to pay something out of their pocket, it seems to make a bit of a difference in your success of where you're going to get. Because then you have that accountability. You have that accountability. And then you're going to be singing, no limits, no boundaries, I see increase all around me. Break free, break forth, release me. Enlarge my territory, no limits, no boundaries. Oh, love you more. Thanks for bringing the joy. Oh, Jareen, thank you for joining. Love you, sister. Praying for your better. We missed you yesterday. Sing it, sister. I'm almost out of my voice. And I have to get on because now I have 3 messages of people waiting to get back to me. But I just want to jump on here today, share a little joy with you, encourage you that we're walking into a new season. There's a new season right at the door. Get ready. Because you're in the driver's seat of being intentional and deciding who's going to sit at your table. What am I going to do? What am I going to be consistent with? What am I going to be intentional with? Write it down. Start doing it. Find people that are going to encourage you, that are going to light up your life, that are going to pull the gold from you, that are going to lock arms with you, are going to love you and propel you and celebrate you. And have fun doing it. Okay? So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to love you and leave you. And happy New Year's Eve. And I'm going to run because I got to get back to my messages now. So y'all have a great night. Maybe I'll jump on it later with my husband. But love you guys. Happy Wednesday and happy New Year. Love y'all.